Hello and welcome to the English Like a Native podcast. My name is Anna and you're listening to week 13, day 5 of your English 5 a day. This is a series that aims to increase your active vocabulary by deep diving into 5 pieces every day of the week from Monday to Friday. Let's start this episode with a verb. And it is to propose. Propose. We spell this P-R-O-P-O-S-E. Propose. Propose. To propose is to ask someone to marry you. Okay, there are other proposals that you can make, but often if you say to someone, oh, this person proposed, and just leave it at that, then the assumption is that they have proposed marriage. So they've asked someone to marry them. Now, in the past, it was always the tradition that the man would propose to the woman in the UK. These days, it's not uncommon for a woman to propose to a man. Obviously, times change and traditions evolve. And so it's not uncommon for a woman to ask a man to marry her. Okay, so have you been proposed to or have you proposed? Do any of you have any amazing and romantic stories about an amazing proposal? Here's an example sentence. Do you think I was right to propose to Dan so soon after meeting? I hope I haven't rushed into it. Now, I personally receive multiple proposals via my DMs on Instagram and via email as well. It's the one thing that I found really peculiar when I started putting my face on the internet. The idea that people who don't know me, who have never met me, would ask me to marry them. Flattering and a little bit disconcerting. But yes, I have been proposed to many times via text message. So I have had experience there. Okay, next on our list is an adjective and it is customary. Customary. Customary spelled C-U-S-T-O-M-A-R-Y. Customary. Customary. If something is described as customary, then it is usual. It is normal. Or it could be the tradition. It's customary. Here's an example sentence. It's customary in some countries to ask the father's permission before proposing marriage to someone. Many years ago, I was in a serious relationship, a long-term relationship with a chap, and I was getting cold feet in the relationship. I was starting to feel we'd been together for quite a few years, and I was starting to think, I don't think this relationship is right for me. This man isn't the man I want to spend my life with. But he was completely the opposite. He was starting to decide that he did want to settle down with me. And he'd invited me to go to Paris for New Year, for the New Year's celebrations. And I had an inkling, I had a suspicion about how he was feeling and that he might propose. So I phoned my mum and I said, Mum, I think that this man is going to propose to me and I think I want to leave him actually. I think I want to dump him. I want to end the relationship and I think he's going to propose. This is terrible. I need to do it soon. And she said, yes, you do, because he phoned me and he's asked my permission. He's asked for my blessing to marry you. So I know that he's going to propose to you. And I was like, oh no. So he did ask my mother for her blessing in advance. Now, it's not customary necessarily to ask the mother, but at the time, my father wasn't very much involved. So my mother was the person to ask. And if you're desperate to know the ending of the story, I'll tell you what happened at the end of the podcast. So let's move on to our next phrase on the list. This is an idiom, and it is pop the question. To pop the question. This is spelled P-O-P. Pop. The T-H-E. question, Question. Pop the question. To pop the question is an idiomatic way of saying to propose, to ask someone to marry you. Here's an example. I'm going to pop the question to Dawn when we go away. I just need to plan how I'm going to do it. Next on the list is a noun, and it is fiancé. Fiancé. Now, fiancé is spelled Fiancee. But the first E in fiancé has that little accent above it. Fiancé. A fiancé is a woman who is engaged to be married. Fiancé. We have the same word for a man who is engaged to be married, but it has a different spelling. I believe it's just with one E at the end, but I think it sounds the same. Fiancé. Fiancé. Sounds like Beyonce, but with an F. Fiancé. Okay, here's an example sentence. Please let me introduce you to my fiancée, Lucy. We're trying to decide whether to get married at home or abroad. And then last on our list is a verb, and it is to celebrate. Celebrate. And we spell that Celebrate. Celebrate. To celebrate something is to take part in a special, often enjoyable activity to show that something's important. So, for example, a birthday, especially an important birthday or a big birthday like your 40th. Or your 18th birthday, that's quite a special one. Your 21st birthday. People will often celebrate those milestones. When I hit 1 million subscribers, there will be a celebration. I will celebrate because it's something I've worked towards for a long time. So I'll take part in a special activity to mark that occasion, to show that occasion is particularly important to me. Here's an example. Can't believe I finally got engaged. Let's go out and celebrate. I'm paying. Okay, so let's recap. We had the verb propose, which is to ask someone to marry you. Then we had the adjective customary to say something is usual, normal, or the tradition. Then we had the idiom pop the question, to pop the question, to ask someone to marry you. Then we had the noun fiancé, which is the name we give to the woman who is engaged to be married. We then had the verb celebrate, which is to take part in a special activity to show that a particular occasion is important. Let's now do this for pronunciation purposes. Repeat after me. Propose. Propose. Customary. Customary. Pop the question. Pop the question. Fiancé. Fiancé. Celebrate. Celebrate. Fantastic. Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions to see if you can remember what we've covered today. What's the idiomatic way of saying that someone asked someone to marry them? Pop the question. And what's another way of saying pop the question? Just a general verb. Propose. Fantastic. When you propose to a woman and she says yes, she becomes your fiancé. Very good. And it would be the tradition to ask the father of the bride if he gives his blessing, if it's allowed for you to pop the question. What other adjective could we use to describe this tradition? customary. And then when we're all excited about this particular occasion, what are we going to do? Celebrate, of course. Fantastic. Right, let's bring everything together in a little story. Fellas, it can be a daunting task. You know you want to spend the rest of your life with your partner and you want to give her the best wedding ever. But just how do you propose to her? The moment has to be special, not on a normal Saturday night down the local pub with friends, not via WhatsApp when she's at work. It needs to be something totally amazing. Then you start to think, will she say yes? What if she says no? Should I ask her father's permission first? It is customary in her family, but you don't really know him that well yet. What if he says no? Who will be my best man? What will I say in the wedding day speech? All these questions spinning around inside your head. Here are a few tips. There are plenty of websites you can go to for advice on how and where to pop the question. Ask family and friends. You could even speak to a wedding planner. Think about what she loves doing. Does she have a favourite place? Is there an activity you do together where you could surprise her with the big question halfway through? Are you due a getaway where you could ask the hotel to decorate an area for you? However you decide to ask the girl of your dreams to become your forever love, do it with confidence and pride. Do it knowing that soon this lady will be your fiancé and you have a lifetime of memories to make and treasure. Fast forward, woohoo! Now you're engaged. You can take a deep breath. All of that anxiety and worry was for nothing. Go out, celebrate, get ready for a life of love, laughter, and long-lasting memories, and make sure your wedding day speech is awesome. And that brings us to the end of today's episode and the end of week 13. I do hope you found this week useful. I look forward to tickling your eardrums once again tomorrow or perhaps next week. Until then, take very good care and goodbye.